All right, I gotta find what I want to read because it's something I want to read.
Hey, we live right now. Hey, look, check this out. Black African Power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Woohoo wee. Man, y'all already know what it is, man. It's and Raw Squad up, man. Look, we're in the building and appreciating the 100,000 viewers that's watching right now, right? We want to kind of talk about a little bit of this and a little bit of that, specifically about the Sarnetta TV Awards and the awards that the Raw Squad won. Think we won about what, 5 or 6, something like that. Man, I lost count. All right. And Raw Squad up. What's good, Dr. Mayat? Raw Squad up.
Raw Squad up, brother Ankh. I want to say peace and power first and foremost to my Raw Squad members, to Queen Sister Naya, my brother Asar, definitely the real Black atheist. Peace and power to the brothers and sisters in the chat room. Feels good, brother Ankh, to be on the panel and just rapping and politicking. And I'm looking forward to tonight's discussion, about the Sarnetta TV Awards. Just looking forward to rendering my thoughts about the awards. Peace and power.
Peace and power. Sister Naya, Raw Squad up.
Raw Squad up, brother Sister Naya, the God of SAR. I'm just here to support you guys, just to say I'm truly, truly, truly honored to be on the team, and just wanted to congratulate you guys for the awards and congratulate us for the awards. And I'm just here to show support.
Yeah, you was up for award too, though, there, Naya. I'm thinking they cheated you there in that category. Definitely should have won over Umar Johnson, in my opinion.
Stop it. Stop.
Brother Saul, what's good? What's happening? Raw Squad up. Mocha University.
Peace and blessings, family. This is Asar Motep of the Raw Squad and the Madhu Mandela Institute for the Advancement of Science and Culture. Here just to have a good, meaningful discussion concerning the Sarnetta Awards and the nature of awards. I want to give a shout out first and foremost to everyone on the panel. Dr. Maat, Sister Naya, Brother Ankh, Jawu says coming through later, the whole Raw Squad, Marcy Clan, and of course our viewing audience for taking the time out of their busy Friday night to hear some words from the squad. So peace and blessings to you all. I'm grateful to be here.
Okay. Hey, look, so man, that was like a real powerful evening, man. Let me I don't even know, I know I got them right here. Look, I got a handful of them. Yeah. All right. And for me to get these awards, certificate of achievement, right? Raw Squad. So we got to it was just real, it was just very important to get these right here. You know what I'm saying? Got so many we can't even carry them. So I think I want to talk about the scholarship team award we won. Yeah, that's my joint right here. I'm gonna talk about that first. This Wu Jia, he got the Meta Nature Scholar. All right. So first of all, let's talk about the scholarship team award, right? I knew that was going to be a dead runaway from the beginning. I think that award right there, the team award, was very, very, very important, and it was dear to my heart. Y'all understand the long hours we put in, keeping this thing together, time put in, and just over the last 7-8 years, it's been a good run, and it's been a great run. And to get these awards at this time, I think was very, very meaningful. We've been through a lot, ups and downs, rocky roads, trying to do the internet thing. And since the group is not really an internet group, we really in them streets, got real authors on the team. People who don't, real legitimate professors. Man, that sounds good to say. damn. You know what I'm saying? Legitimate people who is taking the time out their busy life to actually go to the grassroots in the streets with the people. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times people think we're just an internet group. We're not an internet group. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was the vision, my vision, that had us on the internet, but everybody in the group had already they thing in power moving real strong in the streets. So this ain't new to and nobody. You know what I'm saying? I can go down the line. I can start with Dr. Oyama Yat. She has Anime Productions. She has a doctorate degree. She teaches at a major university. Plain and simple, she's a professor at a major university. You got Asar Hotep, man, he's a great author of about 5-6 books. You feel me? He been on this thing, he been in them streets. This is what he do. He teaches scholarly conferences, real scholarly conference. He actually, like Dr. Mayat say, he pushes the envelope. You know what I'm saying? He adds new things, you know what I'm saying, to the linguistic arguments. We got Sister Naya. Man, she been working with the youth. You know what I'm saying? Plain and simple, that's what she do. That's her profession. You know what I'm saying? That is exactly what she does. So Smash Rockwells, he's been in the community for the last 20 years. He opened up a center, you know, for the youth in Oakland. You know, Hyro Crew, been doing it. Been Wuja, he been teaching. This ain't nothing new. You know what I'm saying? He's an author. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 authors. Brother Nahisi, you know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for him to finish his monumental work dealing with genetics. Black Panther, he's authored 2 children's books. You feel me? He's writing a journal right now. He's in the midst of putting together Pan-African Journal. So man, you know, it's real around here. And to take our time out to actually, you know, come amongst the people, I always felt like that was a very, very, very humbling thing for everybody to do. And I appreciate the team. So this particular team award, man, is very humbling, you know, for me. And I appreciate all y'all. Go ahead, Dr. Mayat. You want to say something? We're going on.
No, I think that Brother Ankh, you did a beautiful job. I mean, golly, I was sitting here like, God, this man has a superb memory, because you did a wonderful job just describing, you know, everything that that all of us have going on. But one thing I noticed is that you didn't describe yourself, Brother Ankh. You didn't mention what you have going on. You know, I mean, you've been teaching for over, I want to say 10 years. It may be longer than that, but you've been teaching in the community for about 10 years. And in the midst of this, raising a whole family, you know, just opened up a brand new store down in Atlanta, Georgia, a shoe company, Abjuwear, selling merchandise around. I mean, come on now, Brother Ankh. You talked about everybody, but you didn't say anything about yourself, Brother Ankh. And you said that, you know, when you mentioned a star, you said that I always talk about, thank you, Jalen. You said that I always talk about adding, you know, new things to an area of study. But you brought, to me, I feel like you brought academics to the streets. Who was talking about methodology in that community, Brother Ankh, prior to you? Science and evolution prior to you. Look at what you brought to the community, Brother Ankh. So, you know, I want to just take this time out to acknowledge you and all of the contributions that you've made to the community. You know, I think it was humbling that you mentioned everybody else, but I mean, Brother Ankh, I mean, you've been putting in work for years, putting in work, bringing academics, teaching people about research methodology, challenging people to scrutinize sources, you know, promoting science and the importance of science and the scientific method. You brought that to the community, Brother Ankh. And so I just want to take time out to applaud you and to salute you for your contributions as well, brother.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, you asked Sister Naya. I know I ain't get all your accomplishments right. I ain't want to mess it up. Where you at?
You know, for me, it's, you know, I'm grateful to be on the team with you, Asar, Sanjeti, Wujawu, Black Panther, you know, because I'm just a student really here learning, trying to perfect my craft You know, in the world of psychology, you know, I've been doing it for the last 16 years, and I work with kids who are abused in foster care. And it just keeps me grounded. I really think that our future is in our children. And I think that we have to really be sure that we're really taking advantage of the educational systems, and we're teaching our children, and we're protecting our children, and we're making sure they have great experiences growing up, because a lot of our kids, they grow up in environments that fosters a lot of negativity, a lot of dysfunction. So that's what I primarily do. But, you know, in the conscious community, what I do is I'm just here to just help people to understand the importance of narratives and psychology in our history, because Dr. Amos Wilson, he always said that history is always present. It's in the psychology of the people, and either we are progressing or we are regressing. And I think for Black people now, we're in a regress state, and that's because we don't understand our history and we don't know our history. And so that's why we have so many different narratives. So for me, I'm just a student learning, trying to perfect the craft. I'm just grateful for all of you guys, because you just helped me to be a better person. So.
All right, Brother Saw. You gotta mute yourself. Your line muted.
Bad. Sitting here on mute trying to talk. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I've been absent for a while, but primarily trying to finish this work, you know, because I'm in school now, and I've been working piecemeal on this book for like the past 2 years. And, you know, I'm getting ready to rev up in my studies in computer science. And so I needed to take some time off to really finish at least the main parts of this book. So that's nothing is left but review and editing and things of that nature. And it's important because, you know, we need new text with new information and examples of proper methodology as it regards a lot of the information and misinformation that is circulating throughout the neighborhood, excuse me, the conscious community, I should say. And I'm simultaneously working on a class, a linguistics class, an introduction to linguistics class. It's going to be a crash course. It's going to be two courses actually. Introduction into general linguistics and an introduction into historical comparative linguistics. And the long-term goal is to really prepare us in the conscious community to be homeschool teachers. And even if we can't do it full time, they'll understand certain points and certain methods that they can teach their children the way that they see fit. And a lot of us, of course, are starting off with information about Africa and its cultures and things of this nature. And we got to understand the relationship and the importance of language to this overall mission. Because, you know, when we talk about nation building, part of nation building is the identity of the language that we're going to use for the nation. And so I want to get people equipped to understanding and learning about African languages so we could communicate and do business with people in Africa. And they can, of course, communicate and do business with us. And so it's a gradual process, just laying the groundwork. But as you know, the work on the book is also, I'm preparing to turn some of the ideas in the book into the documentary film that is going to be concentrated on the book, and more so concentrated on the relationship between ancient Egyptian language and culture the rest of quote unquote Black Africa. And so it's one thing to be able to read the stuff in the books. It's another thing to see correlations live. And that's what I aim to do, you know, in the film. So I want to hurry up and get this, not necessarily hurry up and rush through and just put up anything, but get the book done so I can start working on that second phase, you know, for the documentary. And so we can, you know, Dr. Maad has already set a standard in terms of the quality of presentation, the quality of information that is being dispensed, in at least in her case, specifically to the youth, you know, regarding our heritage and culture. And so I want to continue, not necessarily with the cartoon, but continue with high quality visual representations of the stuff that we're talking about on a daily basis. Because while, you know, I do plan on in the future writing a little bit more for the layperson, and you know, I try to do my best to mix it to speak to the professionals as well as the community. But I know that the community doesn't read very much, and certain books they're turned away from, and so something that I may write, you know, may not catch on in the written form, you know, with them. So this is why I want to have the visuals as well to go along with the book, so that they, you know, can be referenced to the book, and of course the references in the book regarding certain particular topics. So that's the next phase, is to bring you know, high quality representations of the stuff that we're talking about. So, you know, we have a new layer of combating the pseudo information that is out there, because, you know, I'm on my cell phone right now on this channel, on this program, and anyone with a cell phone has access, and a Gmail account has access to YouTube. So as many programs like this that we'll do, you know, pseudos don't seem to have jobs for some reason, and they have all the time in the world, and so they'll just sit on YouTube and create videos, and then we'll be constantly going back and forth, you know, trying to battle this information. It'll be a never-ending, you know, saying cycle. So we have to do something different. And so when we're able to put together solid information and high quality visuals out there, you know, saying for the community, we can work to get this stuff integrated into you know, school systems and Netflix and, you know, these type of spaces. And when you're doing it that big, the community more to what you're saying than just simply what, you know, what we got going on in terms of the conversations on YouTube. You know, when they see, for example, that, you know, you have a center and that you're applying the knowledge, you know, in the community, and a place where people can come, you know, saying eat, drink, and, you know, purchase product and see, you know, lectures and have cultural events and things of this nature. And they see these things manifesting, and they can see the artwork and the work that y'all putting in. When they can see these things and you put it up against what the pseudos are not producing, then, you know, you have more long-term pull in the community, because they'll be more willing to utilize what we're creating in their homes to teach their children. And that's ultimately what we want, so that we can bring up a new generation who's going to take our work further and farther and do bigger and better things. So we have to find, you know, unique and creative ways to reach them. And that's something that I've been contemplating for the longest, and developing strategies so that, you know, saying we can do that more effectively. And so sorry to take up all that much time from a simple question.
No. That was wonderful. Wonderful explanation. brother. So I was just sitting here thinking about when you talked about nation building, you said, we need to definitely, you said hone in on like a language. And so I agree with that. And I also agree with just the push, pushing engineering. Any opportunity that I get, brother, so that I'm going to push them. And reason being, we cannot nation build without scientists. We can't nation build without mathematicians. We can't nation build without architects. And so, I just really would hope that folks will, push our babies into STEM. And a matter of fact, brother, so we're getting ready to start working on developing like an animated like STEM series where we're pushing science. We're teaching the babies math. Using, animations and hip hop music and stuff like that. And I'm trying to get Morgan, to assist us with funding this. So this is a conversation that we're having now because we noticed that the enrollment numbers are dropping with the School of Engineering. And when I say the enrollment numbers are dropping over at Morgan School of Engineering, it's not dropping amongst foreigners, it's dropping amongst Black folks. We're not going into STEM. At Morgan, we have a lot of Kuwaitis, we have a lot of Saudis there, even whites, and Asians have begun to come over to the School of Engineering. And so the enrollment numbers among Black folks are dropping. And so we're trying to figure out ways to get children and parents on board with STEM. And so an idea is, well, how can we, go into maybe the middle schools and elementary schools and high schools and start, recruiting kids to come to Morgan in of course, the DMV area. So, we're thinking of different ways. And I said, well, maybe we can start creating and promoting animations and taking them to schools and exposing children to that. So we're also working on that as well. I'm sorry, Brother Uncle, did you want to say something?
No, I'm listening to you.
Oh, yeah. So we're just trying to figure out how can we get our children involved in STEM and getting the parents to recognize the importance of our children involved in the STEM area. So we're over here thinking about, strategies for that. And then also, Brother Ankh, I wanted to let the viewers know that we're getting ready to buy a building. I remember calling you up and telling you about this maybe last week. In the off of Pennsylvania and North Avenue, in that particular area, we're going to buy a building. It's going to be a joint venture with Ryan's Institute. Hopefully, we'll have the building by June of next year. We'll be running STEM summer camps out of there, GED programs, SAT programs, entrepreneurship programs, counseling services out of that building. So hopefully, we get everything up and running by summer of June 2019. So that's in the works. I want the folks to also know that I'm going to develop a class, and Sister Naya knows about this. She and I have been talking about this for the last couple of months, but I'm going to develop a class entitled The Foundation of Mathematics, where, I teach you basic math, algebra 1, algebra 2, geometry, trig, and then I take you to pre-calculus, and then we go through calc 1, calc 2, calc 3, ability and statistics, differential equations, and linear algebra. So, again, offering, this class to the community, Brother Ankh. And I know you said we're going to open up like a communiversity or the Army Raw Squad University. Is it okay for me to speak freely about that? Or
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you speak.
I just wanted to let the family know that, we're in the midst of building a university online. I know that Sister Naya has some classes that she's going to teach, Wu Jiao, Brother Asar, you, me. And so I wanted the family to know about that as well.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's a few things you said, and you was talking about the enrollment numbers was down. And is that a direct result of YouTube and a bunch of fools that be teaching? Could it be that? Could it be that? And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, so we got a Black college where foreigners and other people go to get the education And we got people in our community actually talking about don't go to school, don't read books. Where Brother Asar has to kind of change his style if he wants to get people to read his books because they're not really going to read it.
Mm.
I remember when Sister Naya helped me write my first book. And man, I really appreciate that. She really did the daggone thing. And in my mind, I was saying, okay, I'll never forget Dr. Ben's work, chronology of the Bible, right? And I remember the size of it, small little pamphlet book. And I remember how many times I read that. So I knew I needed to make something that people wouldn't be scared to read. And it shouldn't be that way. You know what I'm saying? It just really shouldn't be that way. But that's what we're tasked with. But the fact that you're saying the numbers in the School of Engineering is dropping amongst our people is so crazy. And it makes me realize just how important what we do, why it is so important. You know, I cannot believe if we was to go in a dictionary, right, and actually read the definition of nature, okay, wouldn't nobody disagree with that, and then read the definition of science. It's like the study of nature and the natural forces. You know, nature is simply natural forces without involvement with human beings. That's nature. And the study of that is science, knowledge, right? So we teach about nature, right? And we teach how to learn from nature, right? And everybody want to throw bananas at us.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's funny. Like that, ha. And I'd be like, that's funny. Like, stole a mine and Lion Lex, right? You know, I happened to be on the Vicarious show with them. Like, they snuck me on the show. Like, where's the character in that? You know what I'm saying? And got me on the show, but I don't mind being in the mud. That's one thing about me. I can get it in all the way. Like, I come from that. So I didn't have, once I realized you had snuck me on the show like the feds, you know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, all right, stole a mine and Super Lion Lex, it's okay. And so we going in, you know, I'm doing my thing, and I'm realizing that these dudes are really children of the pseudos. You know, that they was raised in an environment of misinformation. You know what I'm saying? Like, the conscious community is a community of a lot of misinformation. There's more misinformation in the conscious community than it is correct information.
I agree.
Trying to get through it is crazy. You feel me? I couldn't hear you. Would you say, Dr. Matt?
I was just amening you. I said I agree 200% with you on that statement that you made. That is more misinformation circulating than actual information. I agree 100% with that.
Yeah, and I was talking to Brother Asar the other day, and I was like, brother, I remember when it was the Nikki Love and Unc show, and it was this show that Asar had. And from day one, Asar had the level on his show. Manu and Pimp, James Smoke, like, he had the level. And like, he wasn't even like, it wasn't bubbling like it should have been. Now I'm over there bubbling. I'm talking shit. Excuse me for the cuss. Doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? Halfway crook, but fighting, but understood that Africa was in my heart and I need to teach this the best way I knew, right? But the level was over there. And I never forget, you know, he used to tune into the show. I used to tune into a show, and he used to always come through and help me with that Hebrew contingent. But he was very, very surgical. And I was like, what in the hell kind of weapon is he using? You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, I need it in my toolkit. And then I remember Sanjetti came through, right? And he corrected me on something. That was probably the first time that I had been corrected. But you know how Sanjetti do, he did it in a very, very easy, smooth type of way. And I was like, oh, I said, he just threw a punch that I didn't see, right? And he really knocked me out. So let me chill and really see where this brother's coming from. He got another style. I ain't used to that. And so I like calmed down and I listened to these brothers, you know what I'm saying? And I realized they had something that I just didn't have at the time. I might have had the listening audience, right? I might have had a good foundation with the Dr. Benz, and I knew about the John Henry Clarks, and I went through my Nuwapian stage, right? So you know, I was just open for growth at that point, right? And it's interesting to be sitting in the midst of real information and thinking you have something on the other side and laugh at the real information. Do you know how easy it is? Because that's during the times when my man General Contractor, we was vibing at the time. Who knew that most of the information he had was just incorrect? Who knew that he was fronting? See, I don't never want to be a fronter. And when I come up against something that I'm not familiar with, that I'm feeling like, man, I'm struggling against it, I need to know what that is. I need to learn. That's my point to grow. So a lot of people need to be more open-minded because we all started from the misinformation crew. We can go down the line, all misinformation. You know what I'm saying? Sister Naya, to her credit, she contacted me. She was online beating up the Aboriginals, and she just wanted to know what the level was, right? Who are these people? And we talked about it. What do you know, brother? And she asked questions to death, right? And I mean questions to death, like undaunting questions. You know what I'm saying? For months and months, wanting to know what is it? What is it about the conscious community? What is this? What is that? Before she even showed her hand on how serious that she was in her level of studying what she was doing. So we all need to sit back, right, and just go for the ride because there's information out there for us. It don't got to be this way. We don't got to smash everybody out. So we giving the definition of what nature is. We giving the definition of what science is. We're talking about African spirituality. You got Brother Black Panther, you know what I'm saying? He's entrenched in it. Brother Asar, he's entrenched in Jetty. They entrenched all the way in that. All the way, like all the way. And they talk about nature in a tradition, right? And you talk about the Nile Valley and how they had like nature gods, pantheists, but dealing with, nature. Gods was dealing with nature. They had nature religion. So that should ring a bell. You know what I'm saying? That should really ring a bell. And so we ain't really moved away from the tradition, and we ain't moved away from what our ancestors did. You know what I'm saying? We never have. It's the other side, right? This laden with white information, this laden with misinformation. They got the black allergy going. It's a cult. I know I was in one. So now we got these segmented cults in the conscious community. You know what I'm saying? Well, you don't even need to go to a building. You just need to support their cause, where they can get 20,000 here, 100,000 there, without even having a damn building for the people to go to. Now, how in the hell, that's goddamn super pseudo, ain't it? Think about that for a minute. They not as slick as the quote unquote preachers, you know what I'm saying, to be on television, to get millions, you know what I'm saying, off the radio, like goodwill, tidings and blessings, pay this money, we're gonna send your prayer. You know what I'm saying? They don't get money like that, but they get enough. And it's crazy to me. I'm sitting back saying, man, all we trying to show you is how to look at nature, how to look at yourself. People get mad at that. You know what I'm saying? And wonder why we always winning and always beating up people. Because you cannot defeat nature. It is impossible. You can only learn from her. You know what I'm saying? Nature will get rid of you, will transform you into something that's usable. You can't defeat that. Well, I don't want to go too long on that, but dock me out. What was the name of the award you got?
I received the STEM Award, the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Award.
Shout out to Sarnetta for getting the goddamn categories right. Because we didn't get that with the Black Power Awards. We did not get the categories right. They just wasn't.
No, I agree with that.
Nor did we get our damn awards. How about that? Still ain't got the damn awards. Enough of that foolery. Anyway, science and technology. That's right. And that was the proper category. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, you got a Black Power Award and for Mel Trex, which was, that damn right. Supposed to get that. Right. But this one, I mean, I think it glorified your life's work so far. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Sarnetta was on his A game. I'm gonna tell y'all, man, Sarnetta was on, you know why he was on his damn A game? Because he listened to other people like he had some damn sense. Got it right. So shout out to you, Dr. Oyai Mayat, first annual Sarnetta Awards, getting that Science and Technology Award. You definitely deserved it. And I know we have people in the community that don't think you're a doctor because you're not a medical doctor. That's how crazy the community is, boy.
Brother Ark, you remember, can I share this story? Remember, now this is when you and I were cutting up on this phone. Remember you said when I first came into the community, you said I was so gung-ho about teaching science, and you said I was gung-ho about it, and you said they threw bananas at me. Do you remember that? We were talking about it on the phone.
Yeah.
You say how I was so gung-ho coming into the community, like, Ark, I want to teach the community this, I want to teach them that, I want to teach them this. And you were like, never did you expect for them to throw bananas in your face. I never expected to meet a community of folks who thought that, if you're not a medical doctor, that you're not a real, like, that's unheard of. Like, what? You never heard that people could get, PhDs in, philosophy, math, computer science, engineering. I mean, English, I couldn't believe it. I was actually stunned. I was extremely stunned. And I was also stunned when you had folks, and I'm not going to mention any names, but when you had folks who honestly believed that electrical engineering only dealt with electricity. That kind of stunned me too. I was just like, wow, there are folks that really believe that electrical engineers, like they were equating, an electrical engineer with an electrician. And so it stunned me. It just really stunned me. It really shocked me. I thought that there were folks who knew better, but again, it's been a learning experience for me. I want to thank Sarnetta for the award. And I agree with you that, this award more so speaks to my life's work. I've been, in engineering since 1999. So, this is almost 20, I got almost 20 years in. Meltrek, that came about in 2013. But when you said that this award, speaks to my life's work, that's my life's work. My life work is engineering. It is math. It is science. I'm now full-time faculty over at Morgan at the School of Engineering. I teach 4 classes there. I'm teaching signal systems and transformations. I'm also teaching wireless communications, electric circuits, and also electric circuits lab. And they wanted to throw another course on my lap, but I told them that I couldn't do it. But I'm teaching 4 classes over there. So like you said, this is really my life's work, and this is what I do. Jumping back into research more, and trying to pump out some more publications in engineering. I haven't published in about 4 or 5 years. So trying to get back into the groove of publishing papers in that particular field. But this is my life's work, and I definitely want to thank Brother Sarnetta for the acknowledgement. I want to thank the people in the community who voted for me, because I know that folks had to vote. And so there were folks who voted me in, voted for me to receive the award. And so I want to thank everybody who voted, and thank you guys for this. Thank you.
Yeah. And I tell you what was even more bananas about that situation you spoke on. We're talking about Buzz Lightyears. The amount of views he got on that video. The amount of ignorance in the comment section, thinking the very same way is what really got me. That's what I knew. Who y'all say it all the time? We in trouble. Yeah, we in trouble.
He says we're doomed. He always says we're doomed.
We do. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was like scratching my damn head, and it's hard. Yeah, I mean, to bring the team along in foolery like that. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to activate the Magnificent Eight for foolery like that. You know what I'm saying? Kind of hard out there, man. So where you at, Wu Jai? See you join us. How you doing, brother? Black African Power, man. Meta Nature Scholar, what's good, brother?
Peace, Black African Power. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Peace to the brother Simotep, Dr. Oya Ma'at, always on fire, Sister Naya, and Uncle Kek, the God Killer. Peace to the family. And yeah, I just sorry for my tardiness, but yeah, I'm just checking in, listening in. And yeah, I'm just sitting here checking everything out.
Yeah, we'll go right to you next, man. Hey, I got your award right here, brother. Your certificate. And I don't even think you've seen it yet. I just wanted to be greedy and hold on to all of them for a while. There you go. Achievement. All right. You won the Meta Nature Scholar.
I did
All
it.
right. And God damn it, Sarnetta got it right again. You know what I'm saying? He got a real Meta Nature Scholar, a real authentic teacher that not only teaches students in America, he also teaches abroad in Africa. All right. I know y'all probably don't know that. All right. Absolutely, positively, Meta Nature Scholar, par goddamn excellent. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Nice with it. All right. And we plan on doing a museum tour in New York. We're gonna let y'all know what it is. And you know, he gonna be in there reading them damn glyphs. I mean, he's gonna be like a kid in a candy store. I'm telling you, he's nice with that all the way. And he's also an author. He also started the Shah Shumani Meta Nature translating team. Shout out to them. Man, them young brothers is seriously powerful. You know, subscribe to their channel right now. All right. Powerful group of individuals. Outstanding group. Character is there. The way they carry themselves. And it's just a reflection on you, brother. So what do you think about receiving that award, Meta Nature Scholar?
Well, first, you know, I wasn't able to attend, so some other things had came up, so that was just unfortunate on my part. But you know, I appreciate even being nominated. You know, when I first learned that I was nominated, you know, I was, you know, appreciative of that, because I know, you know, the process, you get nominated and then people have to vote. So I really appreciate the recognition for the nomination, as well as obviously the vote, you know, and so I really appreciate it. And I thanked Sarnetta, you know, as well as the House of Consciousness community, you know, the whole entire community. Because, you know, we do this to hopefully edify people, and we can all learn together, you know. That's you know, that's my thing. Like we all learning together. So much to learn. And if we could just iron out the differences and really just get on board as a team as much as possible, and just realize that there's so much to learn, and we would learn a lot faster, a lot more effective if we just get on board together and realize that. And so, you know, I'm just real thankful for the vote of confidence to receive the award and everything. Like you said, I haven't even seen it. So yeah, but I did, you know, in case I did receive it, you know, I gave word to Brother Sanjetti to receive it on my behalf, and thank, you know, Sarnetta, thank the community, and give a special honors to the teacher of teachers, which is Dr. Raketi Amin. You know, so I wanted to make sure that people understand that she is the teacher of teachers, because she's actually produced teachers, not just students, but she actually produced teachers. A lot of people that deal with Meta Nature and so on and so forth are her students, the ones that's out here teaching. Myself, Benachi Montgomery, even Mfundishi, Brother Sanjetti. I mean, you name it. You know, we can pretty much trace our scholastic lineage to her, and then she goes back to, you know, Dr. Teofilo Benga, Shekanda Diop, Asa Hillard, Jacob Carruthers, et cetera, you know, the ASCAC. So, you know, we're pretty much in good hands with Dr. Kedeman. So I wanted to make sure that was known. But yeah, I'm very appreciative. I'm humbled, appreciative, and plus it just, you know, lets me know to continue to work. And there's a lot more work to do. I'm currently working on a full grammar descriptive book and text. It's going to be a textbook style. So it's going to be a textbook from cover to cover, teaching you how to, teaching you about the grammar of Rani Kemet, which is the language of ancient Egypt. So that's my current project, and I hope to have that finished soon. I had to push back deadlines so many times. Anybody that's written books know how that is. And so that's what I'm currently working on. But I look forward to putting in a lot more work. We got a lot of work to do. You mentioned the Seshu Mani Meta Necher, and I definitely thank the brothers and sisters, those co-ed of the Seshu Mani Meta Necher for keeping it together and actually keeping up the studies and expanding. And they're growing in knowledge. All of us are, and collectively we actually wrote a book also to address the issue of has a hieroglyphic writing system been deciphered. So I don't think people know that was a collective effort, but we got together and authored that book. Yeah. So anyway, just wanted, I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, it's definitely on the cover. That was addressing Walter Williams' claims, which is a scholar. We address scholars around here. That's why I'm really looking forward to Brother Saar's project, so I can just immediately start teaching out of it. So I use all the team's work, because it is what it is. It's some good work. I also enjoy reading Smash Rockwell's book, The Handbook to the Conscious Community. You still got people talking about things that has already been addressed in that particular work. And so people are really behind. Appreciate you, Asar, for putting the fire under me. You say put it in writing, bro. All right, so I'm finishing up my second project too. I decided just to make it longer and just take my time with it, go back over it, just making sure it's right. I think it's going to be, it's for the layman. You know what I'm saying? I write for the layman. You feel me? So you don't necessarily need a dictionary when you read mine. You might need one when you're reading the SARS, though. A couple dictionaries, line them up.
Definitely. Definitely.
You actually do a good job, though. You really do, man. I say this all the time, that Asar has the ability to write, you know what I'm saying, what I was thinking, you know what I'm saying, and what I was saying, but I needed the damn proof. That it's like he always come through for me all the time with the evolution thing, you know what I'm saying? Back with the Kepler, you know what I'm saying? Him and Wuja went deep into the word gate with the science thing. Me and you, Dr. Nyat, was talking about what's the word for science? Well, Saul got a whole chapter dedicated to that. Yes, sir. I would get that started doing. You know how you score a touchdown? I can't wait till I get that. I can't. Oh my good.
This is in his new book coming,
sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
yes.
Yes. I want to say something. I forgot to say. I got to say this. That even coming on board the Amun-Ra squad, I thank the Amun-Ra squad because y'all are some amazing colleagues, and they say like minds to get together, and I think we represent that very well. I think we represent a very good mix of individuals and have different focus. I think our individual focuses gel together very well. So I also cannot ever forget to thank the Amun-Ra squad, Brother Asar, Sanjeti, Brother Ben, Dr. Oyema Naya, Unk, Nahisi. Anybody? I'm not missing anybody else. It's just us, a little crew. So, but
you got it.
Yeah. So and we keep each other on our toes. And I don't know if people realize that because we don't always agree. And I think we have a very healthy relationship. And our area of focus, I think it works very well. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that, and to thank you all for just having me on the Amun-Ra squad and us doing what we do.
Mm-hmm. Hey man, wouldn't have it no other way, bro. Wouldn't have it no other way. Hey, Sister Naya, I think we don't want to gloss over this. Be honest with you, the work behind the scenes that you did the Sarnetta TV Awards was absolutely spectacular. All right, just the volunteer work, the way it all came together. The damn event was smooth. I don't know how they pulled it off like that. And you was running, and it was smooth. And so I just want to personally thank you for stepping up, you know what I'm saying, for my friend Sarnetta. And that said, you didn't have to do it. You volunteered and you sacrificed for the community. You know what I'm saying? Man, I really, really just appreciate that. Because you had that thing running smooth. I just want everybody to know that, Sister Naya.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Unc. And it was really Sarnetta and me, Sarnetta, and Sister Empress.
Facts.
And dang, and who else? I'm forgetting some names. I know that Brother Issa was back there. You know, it's just I love to serve and I love to do what I can to make sure that people get what they get. And I enjoy helping people, and whatever I can do to serve I love doing it. Sarnetta is a great person. Every time I call him, if I need something, if I want to jump on the show, he's there and he's always supportive. So, you know, I do appreciate you for giving me an opportunity to go and be part of the show. So I wouldn't have missed it for the world. So I just thank everybody for being there and, you know, and supporting me when I needed to be supported. So no problem. I do it over and over and over again.
All right. Okay, Brother Saul, man. What was the name of your award? Let me get that straight.
Let me just clean up something real quick. I cannot forget the brother Smash Rockwell.
No.
The brother is so laid back and so incognito sometimes. You know, he's a sniper. I call him the sniper because he'll just come out of nowhere, and he's true to his name. The Magi Archers, you cannot, you know, the archers are already launched in the air, and by the time it hits his target, it's too late. So, you know, didn't mention the brother. I got to mention the brother Smash Rockwell, the Magi Archer. All right.
Oh, yeah. That's you already know. Man, ain't nobody got around that book yet. Matter of fact, they try to act like it ain't happened. Right. He really raises the prominence, man, with the Coming on Trial debate, man, with that real legitimate research, combating European academia on the subject matter. Most people don't even recognize that. So that's, man, the role he play across the board. So, okay, Brother Saul, I think you won what, the best book? What you win? What was it?
I have no idea. What's the name still has my book. I mean, my award, Sunjeti.
I think you won the best.
And like Wujahu, I'm saying that because I couldn't make it as well. And so,
right,
Brother Sunjeti,
you won the best
award on my behalf.
Yeah, you won the best author. So what do you think about that? How do you feel about that winning that?
You know, I'm humbled and I appreciate again all the people who participated and voted, you know, in the awards or for the awards in general, and specifically for those who voted on my text. So I know I was going against Dr. Wesley and who else in my category?
I don't know. Who was it? Naya, I know you know. Don't you got the list? You might have got it pulled up.
Yeah, let me pull it out right quick, guys. I'm sorry. I was doing something.
Yeah, I knew he was gonna beat Wesley. Had a good talk with Wesley. And you know what Brother Wesley said? He said he appreciated the squad, right? Especially Asar Hotep. Because he said he wouldn't respond to none of y'all pseudos out there. But he said the squad is worthy of responding to. Asar Hotep especially is worthy of responding to. Man, that's the biggest goddamn compliment, you know what I'm saying, that a scholar can
whole
get.
book named after me.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said it also on Facebook when he responded, when he published his book. He said that, you know, one of the things that he appreciated about the conscious community is Asar, and how you deal with conflicts is you got to put scholarship, you got to work. So he's been saying that for a while. But when the awards were coming out, I peeked around the corner and I was looking at his face, and he was clapping. So he's a cool person. He's short. I didn't realize he was that short, but yeah, he always compliments Asar.
Yeah, I met him. I met him one time out here in Philly at the at one of the Adune Day festivals a couple of years ago. So cool brother.
Hey, for the
I'm
category,
sorry. Oh,
I
no.
was going to read the category. It's the best author of the year, and it wasn't against Wesley Muhammad, according to the list. It's Kemet University Press and Dr. Umar Johnson, and then yourself.
Oh, they had books.
Okay.
Damn, to get the man, Community Press got about 30 books.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a man, that was a hell of a victory right there, bro, man. Yeah, it was.
But that brings me to kind of to rehash something that was from earlier, and that is okay, so one of my favorite conferences to present at is the Sheikh Anta Diop conference here in Philadelphia, started by Dr. Molefi Kiti Asante of Temple University. And this year, if my abstract is accepted, they haven't sent any letters yet for rejection or acceptance. But if it is accepted, my intent is to present on the meaning of the word Kemet. And for those of us, in the Meta Nature community knows that there's been an ongoing controversy between scholars and laypersons regarding the meaning of the word Kemet, which was a place name for what we now know as ancient Egypt. And that being neither here nor there, I'm starting off with a quote from Sheikh Anta Diop, where he talks about how essentially, and I'm paraphrasing right now, how he doesn't like it when someone just takes him on his word without researching. And in the same conversation, because this was an actual interview of Sheikh Anta Diop, and which was transcribed and placed in the book Great African Thinkers, Sheikh Anta Diop, edited by Ivan Van Sertima. And he talks about, the need for young scholars to question and to scientifically criticize or critique his works. And secondly, for the creation of research teams. And that he realized when he was coming up and doing this essential work, which, at least at this time in the early 40s and 50s, he was really the only one doing it. And as a result, he was taking on disciplines for which, it would take people years to master, to come up with the conclusions that he did. And what he was saying is that it would have taken him a lot less time had he had a powerful research team with him. And so in this quote, he's stressing the need for research teams. And so this is something I've been contemplating over the years. And we know that with the UKEMET Press, for example, they always stress, the need for research teams, and even have 2 books on study teams and developing research and publishing teams. And so with that, I, and just my fascination just with military and military strategy and war and things of that nature, I'm putting together a curriculum and training for what I call the Diopian SEALs. of course, inspired by the Navy SEALs. And so for those who are not familiar with the military and don't know who the Navy SEALs are, the Navy SEALs are a special units force of the United States military, and SEAL is an acronym for sea, air, and land. And so the overall or underlying objective is to have mastery and control over sea, and land, and air. In other words, to be holistic and complete in terms of warfare. And so as it regards this type of research that we're doing, and also with me being an African-centered researcher and individual, which means that what we do and learn has to be applicable and solve the problems of African people. It has the community component to it. And for us, the SEAL is going to stand for science or STEM, Egyptology, agriculture, and linguistics. And so it's going to be some rigorous training going on for each member, and not everyone is going to be accepted and not everyone's going to make it. But you need an elite force of research teams who come together to solve African problems. And you need to have a certain type of thinking, a certain type of skill set to be able to come together and do the kind of work that needs to be done. And so this is in the works, and I'll keep everyone abreast on that. And again, it's not something, this is not, how should I say? It's not going to be for everyone. And it is going to take rigor. And of course, we don't have time for pseudos. And so, but we need an elite force, to combat, to publish, and to wage war on the forces who are waging war on us, both physically and intellectually. And so, again, this is inspired by Diop, and because I can't think of any serious research teams that have come together to publish and to tackle certain problems. It doesn't really exist in the African world community. You have individuals, like we come together as a team, but we haven't published anything as a team. We don't tackle a certain particular type of thing, and for which every one of us would have a particular expertise in.
Mhm.
But we hope to change that, and just become a super strong unit that and to produce other units who are able to tackle some type of energy. But that science and STEM is going to be very important. Like I have a book right now on mathematical thinking, and because I'm trying to, it reminds me, Dr. Mahat made mention of the lack of Black people at her particular institution signing up for engineering and things of that nature. And I think that science has bad marketing, and especially with math. And I'm trying to figure out a better way to grasp mathematics and to be able to teach it so that it can be grasped earlier and more quickly, by us in the community, so that we will not be so afraid to take scientific courses and to get into vocations, I should say, that require, mathematics and things of that nature. And so, if we can find better ways for people to relate, and this is why for the SEALs team, Egyptology, linguistics, in agriculture and things, we need to be able to solve real world problems for us so that the people can see a reason for using it. If they don't see an immediate reason for knowing calculus, they're not going to grasp it. It's just going to be something that they learn for a test and then forget it afterwards. So that's just an update, you know, from me. And so, you know, there's a lot going on, which is another reason why I'm going to be more ghost and absent from social media in the near future.
Yeah, it should take a lot of time, yo. Don't worry about it, bro. I got you. You can read your book and give them the business. I love it. I love it. So, okay. So,
and as you said, there's a whole chapter in the upcoming book, Elugia Volume 2, that is dedicated to the African origins of the word science.
Yeah.
And the concept of science. Because it's one thing to say that the word exists in Indo-European languages and in African languages. But the bigger question is, was the scientific method present? Were Africans concerned with methodology and avoiding pitfalls in analyses? That's the fundamental question. And how can we demonstrate that and prove that? That's what that chapter is going to be dealing with. Then it's going to be followed with another chapter, which I titled Quantum Mechanics or Quantum Field Theory as African Heritage. And so I'm in deep study trying to understand more modern quantum field theory. And this is a chapter where I'm really going to have to break things down and keep it simple, because quantum mechanics and quantum field theory is straight mathematics. Like I got a quantum field, one of my quantum mechanics books is Quantum Mechanics or Quantum Field Theory Demystified. And it just starts off with equations. I'm like, how is this supposed to be a demystified book? And it just starts off with equations. And so I can't present the equations, you know, to them right off the back in that way. But I want to be able to explain certain things that they'll be able to grasp it. But the equations aren't that important to the underlying message. But I'm seeing that, you know, you're going to have to be very good at math and know about set theory and things of that nature to really kind of grasp quantum mechanics. But I just want to make the point that science, methodology, thinking critically, trying to avoid pitfalls in one's analysis, things that we think is super hard, like quantum mechanics and quantum field theory and astronomy and things of that nature, are in our grasp. It is what we've been doing, you know, as a people for hundreds of thousands of years, and that we can continue to do it and expand on what our ancestors and what the current scientific community is doing with this knowledge. And so when I look at the research that I've done thus far, you know, I wonder how far Africa would be had it not been for the transatlantic slave holocaust, you know, or the invasions from the Arabs and things of that nature, because we were already on quantum field theory, that as just the culture, it's just part of the religion, you know, as part of the priesthoods and things of this nature. And so if people can understand that, then they can understand, you know, but I want to stress and emphasize that it wasn't simply just, you know, some spookism, religion in the modern type sense thing that they were looking at. They were looking at stuff systematically, and the questions they ask and the explanations that they have for the beginnings of the universe, the concept of multiverse, the concept of fields, you know, excitations of the fields and particles and things of that nature. All that is present in different African traditions. And so it is our job to expand on that in a very scientific and systematic way.
Brother Smack.
And so we can also, lastly, so we can stop saying that science and methodology is the white man's.
That's crazy. What's good, brother Smash? I'm around squad up. I see an icon in there. Where you at?
Is he on mute?
You on
He's
mute.
on mute.
All right. Is anybody familiar with in this particular? Someone put Cat Tuck and Almond. What? Hold on, man. Do y'all see this? This Cat Tuck and Almond and an ancient Egypt and Africa. Say, trust me, he uses African names, titles, and kings, gods, goddesses. He's just saying that I think y'all reading the glyphs wrong or something like that. One of them again, one of those statements. Here you go. Ancient Egypt, his work adds on to the work of Anti Diops. We have all been reading and pronunciation of glyphs wrong. What do
Well,
y'all think about that?
well, it's Katukumeni, and that's the author's rendition of the name of King Tut Amen.
Right.
And it's not saying we read the glyphs wrong, but
What you
he's
say?
dealing with the pronunciation. So he's using African languages to kind of deal with the pronunciations. This is something that's kind of ongoing among
Right.
among linguists. You know, I know
Mhm.
Sarah Motep has on some work with that. So yeah, that's something probably to read and check out.
Yeah, I got the journal right here. What's going on, Smash? You just popped in. What's up, brother?
Peace to the squad. How everybody doing?
Hey, Magi Arches, man. I'm raw squad up.
I'm in Rock Squad up in the building. It's good to be on live. How long y'all been getting live and they sending me the link, man?
We just our first one.
Okay, cool. I'm glad I ain't missed nothing. I miss all the good builds we done put together.
Yeah, we back on note, man. We was matter of fact, we kind of mentioned your work, and a lot of times dudes think that we internet dudes, and I was making a point that we're not that, and I spoke to the youth center you done had in Oakland dealing with the youth. You've been doing that before you've been on the Amaral squad, before you
Yes,
started,
sir.
before you jumped in, right? And kind of talk about your book for a minute. How you challenge white academia on said subject.
Yes, sir. Well, to go over some of the things you did, few of the youth centers I work with. I mean, we really own a building in Oakland, California, on 50th and East 12th Street that served as a real youth center. You didn't have to sign up or go through the government. We just raised a lot of the young rappers, but that came from my inclination to try to do something ever since I, got a record deal when I was younger. But I worked for United Roots. I mean, I cut the cord. Did the grand opening ceremony at the United Roots Youth Center in West Oakland, or over there, downtown West Oakland. And then I also spent a few years working with Too Short, Mr. FAB, and a few other people over at Youth Uprising in Oakland. So that's just something we do when we get an opportunity and the time. It's just fun to be tied in with the streets like that. It was my way of being connected with the streets, that I didn't have to stand on the street corner and be out there grinding and nothing. And excuse me for having my avatar up, but I'm kind of like driving right now. But, and then when you want to start talking about the work, man, everything really was inspired by just trying to keep up with the Amen Ra Squad. I mean, we all know we just different versions of the same individual. And, I'm like, man, if these brothers getting it in like this, then I gotta get it in like this. I got the passion, and what I'm saying, it was like my vocation more than my occupation. I would say, like Brother Manu Ampin would say, what I'm saying. And so, putting out my work was really just my effort in keeping up with the Amen Ra Squad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did a goddamn good job there. They still running from the damn book.
Yeah, I told y'all when those arrows are in the air, you don't know they're in the air because people don't usually look up, and then by the time you target, it's too late. That's what I told you.
I appreciate that. One thing about what you were saying, brother, I mean, like, I learned even how to put sources in the book by looking through a SARS book and then learning what type of the different ways you cite notations and how I was messing things up and stuff like that. And so, but to speak on something you said earlier about that microwave and that internet, they can look through our sources. You won't be able to find half the books online. I'm talking about on the whole Google. You can't find the book in Google. You got to go access it in the real world. And so that just says something about some of the work we had to do to, build these materials. And I'm not speaking like no accomplished author. I'm just a rapper who try to keep up with the squad and independent researcher who do my thing. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Well, goddamn.
And there's certain books that I've cited. I had to go because I can't afford them. I had to go to the library and read them. Sometimes I'll cheat and take my digital camera and take photos, saying of all the pages and then read them when I get back home. Because again, you can't find these texts on the internet scanned or things of that nature. Especially since I'm over here we have the University of Pennsylvania museum, and they have a whole Egyptology wing of the museum. Because the University of Penn has a Egyptology or ancient Egypt exhibit, so they have real Egyptian artifacts, in the museum, and so some of that stuff in there. That is just crazy, like stuff you just wouldn't hear of, and of course, if you don't speak French or read German, a lot of this stuff, like some of I just can't read because I don't read German like that, but I could read the Meta Nature, so I'll take the photos of the Meta Nature. They have whole big books of the papyri or whatnot that you have to kind of lay out and look at and things of that nature. And the pseudos ain't doing that type of work, is spending that type of time in those libraries, going through those types of books. And if they did, of course, we would hope that, they would change their mind on a lot of things. But yeah, a lot of stuff you're just not going to get in Budge. You're not going to get on the internet. You're not going to get on YouTube video.
No, hell no.
That's just how it is.
The pseudo don't even know his libraries inside the daggone museums. How about that? How about a Smash? The first time the community ever seen, I'm gonna say this real good. The first time the conscious community ever seen a direct copy from the daggone original was the Kemet on Trial. Feel me? I remember.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah,
and that cost me a pretty penny too. And you can't even access that. And look, check this out. You cannot access that a facsimile in America. I went through some French, just like Asar said. I was translating the words on the website, trying to get this document. And I had to join a French Egyptology organization in order for them to let me even buy the documents that we presented at Kemet on Trial.
Right, facsimile. That big thing I was holding up, that was a facsimile. That was a direct copy from the daggone original right there. I remember nights you spent with that damn micro glass. What you call it? Not a micro glass. Daggone what you call it, Smash?
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about no, it's not a microscope. You're talking about magnifying glass, bro.
Right. Look, see, it's right here, just a piece. And that's when I learned that when they taking the text or walls and a piece is missing out of it, right? They go to other text to try to put it in there and put it together. I ain't know nothing about that, man, until that moment.
Yeah, we learned that firsthand from that research. I heard about it too. Like Ujahu told me about that, even the Star. But that was my firsthand research. Like, I got him. You know what I'm saying? The part that they saying is so egregious wasn't even on the wall. They had to go form it from another text.
Held him with that.
Hey, hold on. I still, for some reason, he left his magnifying glass. I still got his magnifying glass. From that time.
Now you made me come. I had to show my face even though I'm driving on that. That's funny right there.
Listen, y'all speaking about books. If you think about it, man, a lot of the books you all are talking about, if you notice that the covers, they're hardback, number one, and then the covers are plain Jane. All it has is a title and no pictures, no nothing. You best believe that you're gonna come out the pocket for all those kinds of books, and you will not find them scanned, on Google Books or whatever, these PDFs out here. So that's something that people need to really, really start looking into and put in that work, that rigor.
Man, when I was doing my initial research on Kemet, I've been researching the word Kemet for 20 years. And one of my research questions is, have they ever used the word to describe the physical characteristics, the word Kim to use as far as the physical characteristics of a people? And so this one Egyptologist hit me up to this source, but I didn't have access to the source. So I contacted the author, who's a German speaking author in Germany. He actually scanned the publication, the chapter, and sent it to me. And made it into a PDF and sent it to me via email. But it's the only source that I know where the word Kim is used to describe the skin color of someone else, but it's not by the Egyptians themselves, it's by the Greeks. The Greeks use the term Kim to describe the physical characteristics of a Nubian woman, and that she had this round face, and she was Kim, and she was black as skin. They didn't use their own word, you know what I'm saying, for it. They used the Egyptian word for it. But it just goes to show, again, these types of the kinds of work that we have to go through. Sometimes we may not have access, but it's our relationships with people that, from across the waters, that, we are allowed, we have access to certain resources, So this is, of course, all before I moved to Philadelphia and had access to the museum, saying out here. But and they got Theophilo Binga's works in there. They got Cheikh Anta Diop's works. They got Oscar Pafuma, Dr. Alan Anselin. I think they have one or two of Bilolo's works, his earlier works. They have African scholars in that mug, but they're all French speaking and German speaking, Africans. And so, there's a whole body of they're studying our works too. And that's the point I want to make. In these museums, at least in the University of Pennsylvania, UPenn Museum downtown, in the library, they have African scholars' works in that mug. And they are studying it and using it and quoting them and things of that nature for various reasons. And so, it's a serious thing, and this stuff costs. These books ain't cheap. And once you start getting to specialized work, that's when the books start getting more and more expensive. So, everybody wants to read those general books that you can find at Barnes and Nobles, but those aren't necessarily the books with all the great detail. But anyway.
And it goes to show that we always talk about rigor, discipline, and consistency in research. And one thing we kind of leave out is finance, because this research becomes expensive, and I cringe when people say that information should be free. Like, why are you charging? Why don't you give the information away and things like that? And they, that just kind of clues me in on people having no idea what it takes to actually do research and how much it costs just to purchase material, let alone maybe you have to travel, or like you said, network with people across the waters and things, and solicit information. So, it kind of goes hand in hand that people got to really just kind of take all this stuff in consideration. And like you said, when you describe the seals, Ethiopian seals project, we definitely can't tolerate I understand when you say you can't tolerate pseudo scientists and pseudos. It's really no room for that, especially on these kind of levels that you all are discussing right now.
I'm probably on the phone again.
Yeah.
So we just gonna have to take over the show.
So
So who went to? So Dr. Maad went, and Sister Naya went. You know, kind of describe the awards for those of us who didn't make it. You know, in terms of the ambiance, in terms of you know, vendors and just the whole atmosphere and environment.
I'm gonna let Sister Naya. She's been quiet, and I feel like I've been kind of rambling on. But Sister Naya, I'll let you describe it. I mean, it was phenomenal. But I'll go ahead and let you go first, and then I'll follow.
Well, how you gonna let me describe it when I was backstage?
I got one question for you, Naya. I got one question.
Okay, sir.
I got one question. Did you spill any juice on anybody?
I didn't. I wasn't around anyone. I was backstage mainly, and I didn't spill any of my wine.
Okay, I was just checking. Just
Come on, Dr. Ma, you gotta describe it because you already know that I was backstage. So let me just talk a little bit.
Yeah, you were working behind the scenes hard. And I was back there with you here and there, but it was beautiful. The ambiance was it was phenomenal. I felt like Sonette. I gave him a big hug and kiss backstage. I think he did an awesome job, and everyone who pulled together to make the night what it was. I mean, everyone, the team, did a phenomenal job. I particularly liked the ancestor tribute, or the tribute that they made to the ancestors. It was like a slideshow presentation, and they put up pictures of our ancestors, and we stood up, and they played the song "Change Is Going to Come," and so you know, it was just very emotional for me looking at some of the, you know, the ancestors. You had Barashango, Shaka Musa. They threw his picture up. Elijah Muhammad, of course. Diop, John Henry Clark, you know, Dr. Ben. So they had, you know, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. So they did a beautiful slideshow presentation of our ancestors. I thought that was beautiful. The entertainment was phenomenal. They had a comedian there. He was funny. They had a singer. There was a woman who sung, I forgot her name, Sister Naya, but the sister who sung If Only You Knew How Much I Do, the Patti LaBelle song. I forgot the sister's name. But she did a wonderful job singing. They had an African drumming band there who played like in between the categories and during the intermission. Red Pill and Blue Pill got on stage and they rapped. So I mean, the entertainment was beautiful. It was off the chain. Did I leave out anything, Sister Naya?
No, you didn't. You didn't leave out anything.
The vendors were on point, of course. You know, Abjuware was in the building. Brother Ankh was there with all of his merchandise. We were there. I had my two sons in the back. They were vending Meltrek, and Brother Ankh, we came up. We did all right at the sign of the TV Awards. I'm not going to tell my business, but we did all right at the sign of the TV Awards. I mean, people definitely supported the vendors.
Yeah, you lucky one. He ain't give no time. That's what he messed up at. He had everybody stuck in their seats, so they never could get out and really support the vendors.
Yeah, we did all right. You know, we did all right at the you know, vending there. But the vendors were on point. I know you were vending, Brother Ankh. I was vending. Then you had the brother, I forgot his name and where he's based. But if you go online and Google Unapologetically Black, that brother, he was there vending with his wife and sisters. So the vendors were on point.
He's out of Philly.
Oh, he's out of Philly. Yes, that brother, he was there with his wife and sister or daughter. I'm not sure which one. I don't know if it's sister or daughter, but he was there. Who else, Brother Ankh? You, me, him. There were a few other vendors. It wasn't that many, probably like 7 or 8 vendors.
He had it exclusive, but he just didn't do no intermission though.
Yeah.
Not having an intermission to kill you every time.
Yeah, and then you know, it was kind of like a rush to get out because we went over. So yeah, but yeah, it was a beautiful event, brother. So, and I mean, is Sinetta doing this like on an annual basis, or is this going to be, you know, biannual? You know, I'm just trying to figure out, is this every year or what?
I don't know.
To my knowledge, I think that he's trying to do this annually.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know for sure. But I think he intends to do it annually.
Oh.
We're gonna go to the Apollo next.
Oh.
We
Yeah,
got
he was
some
trying
stuff.
to get that at first, but something went down.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I think some people was hating on him, like, now he's going to have those black radicals over there, and then he's
Oh,
going to be a
man.
terrorist, whatever they said, But
Let's see.
but
What
yeah,
we
no,
got
man,
in the chat
I'm
room?
glad I had an opportunity to build the website for the event, but I couldn't attend the event, so I wish I could have made it. And I'm glad that people actually got awards. I'm not gonna say nothing with no other awards. I'm just saying I see the people's awards. That's
You
something.
still ain't get your award yet, a song from the Black Power Awards.
Hey, I'm not trying to say no names. I'm not trying to throw anyone. It was a good event, and so I'm just saying that if you're gonna have an award show, you need to have the awards there for the people.
For the people.
But
Yeah, come on, man. For the people. Yeah. It's crazy, yo. All right. So I don't know if y'all want to take any questions out the chat room, man. We want to be able to do this regular. We don't want to go too long on that. So what's in the chat room? Somebody doubting the word Kemet? Somebody said that?
I got a question first. Maybe I came in late, but the whole squad as a whole won an award. Did y'all discuss that already? I came in late.
Yeah, we did. Where you at, Smash? How you feel about that when that award, Smash Rock Wells? Where you at? He phased out. All right, well, how you feel about that, Wuja, winning that award as a whole? Speak on that.
Oh, well, I mean, that's what I kind of touched on earlier. A squad as a whole, I mentioned everybody, and I think that we have a very good mix of focused research and everything, and I think that we keep each other on our toes, and we work pretty well together. And this is something people have to understand. We don't even always agree, but that disagreement that we even have is healthy. And so I think winning an award or being recognized by the people, hopefully that's reflecting out there. And so to be nominated and receive award as a whole squad, to me, that's confirmation of what we have going on as a body, as a team. So, that's my 2 cents on that.
Mm-hmm. And, that's one of the precursors that nobody's hands will be tied, that you do not have to agree with the consensus in the group. And that was one of the things. So, see, that's what y'all don't know, all right? It is what it is. So you ain't coming in here with the complete foolery and think because a couple people agree and you don't, you know what I'm saying, that you just get voted off the damn island. That's not how that works. Because last time I checked, man, in the conscious community, a lot of people think one way and wrong is 2 left feet. And so that's a nice mechanism that we have in place right there, that you do not have to agree with the consensus in the group. As long as you got that scholarship to back it up. And don't come with no damn foolery. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's what makes us, I done seen everybody get it in. I done seen Smash and Wuja get it in on the word. What y'all get on the word Nubia, right?
Oh, what was that?
Y'all, I done seen y'all getting on the word Nubia.
Oh, yeah.
No, not that word. Not at all. No, not at all. We agree on that. We disagreed on certain nuances about the term Nubia.
Like what?
But see, that's
I think you got you on that, Wuja. I think so.
I'm trying to start some trouble, but
I'm just telling what side I was waiting on. I could be wrong.
no, see that just goes to show how long we've been doing this. How long was that Smash? That was like about 5 years ago, right?
Had to be like 2012 or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I remember it was me, yourself, I think Sanjetti weighed in on it. I know Asar weighed in on it. And I know you had it on your website as well, and about Nubia. and stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, it was all good and the whole nine. So that's just how we do it, you know.
What was the nuances? I the audience want to know. I forgot. What was the
I
nuances?
don't even remember. I don't remember where our agreement parted, but we agree on the majority of things about those terms, how it was used negatively, and you know, by certain Egyptologists, and it blurs the lines to use such terms like Nubia. But I just can't pinpoint where it was where we had a disagreement.
Yeah,
The disagreement was regarding the historicity of the word Nubian itself. Like when I was in that argument as well, and what I argue that is the concept of Nubian and Nubia was a more recent connotation and label for the groups south of ancient Kemet. But historically, you cannot find a place called Nubia. And the places where there is a word Neb that you could halfway argue, you know, being the inspiration for Nubia was actually inside of Kemet and did not refer to those groups. When the Egyptians referred to those people, they referred to individual locations and individual ethnic groups in places. And so it's just what I argued was that it's just the Egyptologists being lazy and just trying to use that term to reference, quote unquote, all the black people that were south of Egypt and trying to separate them from the so-called white Mediterranean Egyptians.
yeah.
And so that was the crux of the argument.
Yeah, I don't even think we have any disagreements whatsoever, especially at this point, because I know Jonathan, I know you brought up Ombos and Come Ombo. We talked about that, how that's within the borders of Kemet, and you know, the old town of Gold Town, Nubti, and all that stuff. So I think at this point, it's all gravy.
Yes, indeed.
And but that's a testimony to what you were saying, as a squad, you know, that's healthy. That's what I was referring to. That's healthy discussions, healthy discourse between us. And then when we present it to the public or try to educate or chime in on conversations, we just better equipped because we went through it. So that's how you do it.
What's the name of this book? Do you mind sharing the opinion on ancient African kingdoms on the Nile? Nubia by Fisher. Who was that? Y'all familiar with that person?
I'm not.
Huh?
Maybe the author, but not that book.
Yeah, me neither.
What's Fisher what? Oh, do you guys have your opinion on ancient African kingdoms on the Nile, Nubia by Fisher, Lokavada, Ikram? Okay, yeah, I can't give my opinion. See, that's one thing the squad doesn't do. Let me make this clear. One thing, no members on the squad will form an opinion on a book that they have not read.
Hell no.
Let's make that clear.
Tried it one time, got beat down.
We don't do that around here.
Damn book in French, man, has got a lot of people in trouble.
We don't do that around here.
French.
Messing with the squad, I got scared to cite a source when I ain't read the whole book. I'm like, man, he say it right here, but you got to read the whole book.
Hey.
That's true because, you know, believe it or not, people will actually accurately quote an author, but they don't realize that the author is not really agreeing with their points. And, you know, so that's to avoid that, you know, so got to get it in.
Yeah,
it's not enough just to have access to a book. You have to have put in that work and read it. Now, sometimes it's not necessarily necessary, depending on the kind of question that you're researching. Because sometimes, for example, a book may be an edited work, and it'll be a whole chapter dedicated to a particular subject. So you don't necessarily have to read the whole book, just at least that chapter as it regards to that particular question. But it's it's pertinent that you have at least read half the book. That way, you know the framework of the book and the essential arguments that the author is making. Because you could cite someone on a particular point, but like, for example, what's his name from Team Osiris in his so-called critique of my work? One of his critiques was that I was citing sources that believe in, for example, the Niger-Congo hypothesis or the Afro-Asiatic hypothesis. And, you know, at the beginning of my book, I set the framework for which, you know, my entire arguments are made. And so you should already automatically know that at this point, I'm with Theophilo Obenga's Negro Egyptian, you know, as a model to explain the relationships between various African languages. And so, but that does not mean that you can't cite sources who don't agree on that point. Because regardless, the data, you know, in terms, for example, that describes a particular language may be very pertinent. Now, this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this chapter on scientific research, because people make critiques and don't understand science and how science works, and what is a hypothesis and how theories are developed. And so I can disagree with an entire theory without disagreeing with certain facts on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The theory comes together just to explain the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And so the theory is a model to try to explain certain facts, but in science, a theory is not a law per se. And even laws change in physics, but that's another discussion. But it's not a law, something that is there permanently, because new models are developed, which forces us to either adjust, you know, the current model or get rid of the current model. So, for example, if we're talking about the relationship between African languages, there were models proposed by early researchers that on a so-called phylum level, they argued that Afro-Asiatic, the label, best explains the relationship between the languages of Berber, Semitic, Chadic, you know, Omatic, and Cushitic languages in ancient Egyptian. However, these African scholars came on the scene and started doing research and showing these non-accidental correspondences between, for example, Egyptian language and Wolof, Egyptian and Mbochi, Egyptian and Yoruba languages. Well, now, since we have all of this scientific data, you would either have to, if you're truly a scientist, you would have to either adjust your labels, your theory. And so Afro-Asiatic is a theory, Niger-Congo is a theory, or you would have to get rid of it because the theory explains the facts. So now that we got new facts, you have to get rid of the Afro-Asiatic, Niger-Congo, because those theories no longer explain the facts. And so you would have to know this about science in order to properly read and understand and critique works in general. And so this is something that the conscious community has yet to really grasp, because they don't understand research methods.
Asar, they'll say,
Yeah.
"Oh, it never was right if it has changed." Then they say that.
That's not how it does.
That's not how it
That's not how
goes.
you do. That's not how science rolls.
No,
You know.
you produce, like you said, you produce models, and models are predictive, right? They're supposed to predict certain things. And so very easily explain why those people, I'm not even going to say their name. I can't believe you gave them that much credit to say their daggone name, right? How they're so absurd, because it's supposed to be people over there that understand science. It's common sense. If the facts that are now been brought out, okay, no longer, you know what I'm saying, support, you know what I'm saying? No, let me say this right. If the new facts that are now brought out explains what the old theory explains, plus adds to it, then you can absolutely overturn the old theory. That's how they do it in science. That new theory that has been proposed explains exactly what the old theory explains, and it adds to it. And that's exactly what the work, you know what I'm saying, that you've been working on and the other brothers have been working on, it does that absolutely. I just want to make that point right there.
And people have to realize that science is an endeavor that is self-correcting. And so you have TEPREC, which is the best knowledge. So science is supposed to produce the best knowledge. And when the set of facts change, then you have to make the adjustments. And people look at those adjustments or the changes and they look at it negatively and say, see, aha, they get an aha moment. And then they want to turn away from science, not knowing that the default, the nature of science in and of itself is explanatory. That's what theories are, explanatory. So we all agree, like everybody will agree that we don't know everything. So as we accumulate data, accumulate facts, then your explanations will obviously have to adjust. And it's supposed to just represent the best explanation at any given time based on the set of data and facts that are available. If people understand that, I think a lot of people will be able to relax about science.
No, they can't, because they have the mind of a religious mind. I'm not talking about the ancient African mind and how they was able to explain science through their religion. I'm talking about the days children of the pseudos, where the religious mind says this, that Jesus Christ died for our sins and he died on the cross. And that can't change. So even if they was to happen to find Jesus Christ's body and exhume it, dig it up, and realize that Jesus Christ's chest cavity was caved in because he got ran over by a Roman chariot. You could not change that. Because if you was to change that, you would change the whole damn religion. Because the whole damn religion is based off of believing, not knowing. In science, the object is to know. That's the object, right? And good scientists, which I see everybody here do on regular occurrences, is to test your theory or to test your idea, to falsify it. That's what I had to learn. Go ahead, brother.
Me and Dr. Oya have it's not a disagreement per se. It's more so an issue in terms of priority as it regards this one step in the scientific method. And so what I argue ultimately is that, when you're going through the testing phase of the scientific process, the objective is to falsify your hypothesis, not to confirm.
And I don't disagree with that, Brother Asar, but I feel like y'all about to I don't disagree with that. I'm not saying like, yeah, of course, when you're testing your hypothesis, I think when you're testing your hypothesis, you're trying to demonstrate or determine whether or not your hypothesis is either consistent or inconsistent with what is expected. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's what you're doing. And just you're like, oh, you're trying to falsify it. I think that's a part of testing it, yes. But you're trying to show whether it's consistent or inconsistent with what is expected, given what you already know.
Can I give my 2 cents? Because you all are saying the same thing.
All right, go ahead, Brother Wujaro. Go ahead.
No, that's it. That's my 2 cents. What Asar said and what you said, it's the same thing. Because in order to know that it's consistent, you have to actually go through and try to disprove it or falsify it. So
that's why I said it's not a real argument. It's more so in terms of priority, in terms of intent of that aspect of the process. Like when I go into it, I'm looking for everything wrong. I'm not even looking for necessarily consistency with the hypothesis itself. If that happens as a result of my analysis, then great. But I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, when researchers are looking at my work, what are they going to be looking for to falsify my claim? What exists out there that can falsify my claim?
Right. And that's a part of it.
Yeah.
That's a part of it. I wouldn't
I'm
deny
sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm just saying I agree with that's a part of it. But when I'm testing the hypothesis, I'm trying to determine whether it's either consistent, if it's consistent or inconsistent with what I expect. And what I expect is based on what I already know, right? So that's what I'm trying to do when I test my hypothesis. So I hear what you're saying. You're going in it trying to figure out what's wrong. You're trying to tear the argument down, right? Or to see if it can even be torn down, right? So you're right. I think you and I, we just our approaches are different. But I feel like
well, it is only in the sense that, and the reason why I word it that way is to at least try to eliminate confirmation bias.
Mm-hmm.
And so if like when I'm teaching research methods and I'm teaching it to a student, I want them to get in their minds not to look at it with the expectation that you're going to confirm your hypothesis or that you're looking for, it's just more so in the language, because it's just like what y'all said, we're essentially saying the same thing, but I think it's the language and the underlying expectation is what I'm trying to change in the minds of people who's doing research. So if you go in it with the expectation that you're looking to falsify this information and that it just so happens to confirm the hypothesis, then you're just that much closer to eliminating, confirmation bias as a result, of your research. So it's just more so an issue in the language.
But let me ask you a question. Yeah, and you're right, because do you ever really confirm hypothesis, or do you just demonstrate that it's consistent with what is expected?
Well, it depends. Well, I should say it like this. Also, when I'm doing an experimentation, I already know that there are other hypotheses. So one of the things I always mention is that you're never really testing one hypothesis.
Exactly.
You always are testing at least 3 hypotheses at the same time. So there's the of course you automatically at least 2. So you have your hypothesis, and then of course you have the null.
Right, the null, the alternative. Mm-hmm. And what's the third?
And so well, I'm thinking, I say third, but I got to remember it's not necessarily that for everyone. In linguistics, is the third. So, you have a cognate, you have a of course a non-cognate, and then you have chance. And so when you're doing experimentations, what we want to do is eliminate chance as a reason for the seeming correlation between the phenomenon which we're studying, so to speak,
and borrowing, right?
And so the objective is to eliminate all the hypotheses. That's why I say for me it's about falsification, because you're trying to eliminate all the other hypotheses, and then what is left is more than likely probably the truth. And so if you come in with the expectation that you're falsifying hypotheses, that you're looking to eliminate other possibilities, then what is left, you're confirming a hypothesis, but the aim is to eliminate all these other hypotheses so that only the truth, is what remains.
And isn't that the fundamental meaning of the etymological meaning of the word science, like to cut, divide, to slice, to kind of cut away.
Yeah, it's to separate the wheat from the chaff, essentially. To make this, because ultimately it's used in a metaphoric way in terms of to make a decision. So we have all these, in other words, to make a decision means that we have options. And so you're cutting away all the other options for explaining, this particular phenomenon and its behavior. Because ultimately we're always studying the behavior of something. And so again, when I'm looking at it from that standpoint, it helps me, at least in my mind, try to reduce and eliminate confirmation bias, or in a particular type of, and it's hard to kind of do depending on what kind of field that you're in, with certain things, but especially when you're dealing with something like language, because language doesn't have the type of experiments that a physicist would have per se, so you still have experimentations, but it's done in a different way. Until you start dealing with like phonetics. Phonetics is more so physics than if we're doing historical comparative linguistics, because there's still a possibility of human perception in the experiment, and so you have to be a bit extra more rigorous in that regard. Versus if I'm trying to, study the exponential rate of the duplication of cells, or the spread of viruses and things of that nature. That's a little different than what we would do in the linguistic field. But ultimately, that's my reasoning, saying for wording it in that fashion, so they can not try to look for confirmations, but to eliminate hypotheses.
Okay, yeah, and I understand, I understand, where you're coming from, Brother Asar, with it. But for me, and in my field, when we test hypotheses, we're trying to determine if it's consistent or inconsistent with what we expect. Like, we're not trying to just tear it down. It's like either it's consistent or it's not. You get what I'm saying? So that's, I don't know. I mean, Wujahu would say we're saying the same thing. So.
Well, don't take my word. That's what I'm hearing. It's like both of you all are talking about two juxtaposed steps in the entire process. To me, it's like, you all are saying the same thing.
Yeah, it's just an issue of stress. What do you stress more in the process?
Yeah.
What do you emphasize more? That's why I said from the beginning, it's not, I don't want to make it seem like it's an argument, like it's opposing views.
No.
Sense. But yeah, so
how many people had that conversation though? How many people have that conversation? Look, check this out, man. Hey, check out the new boosters out, man. They slick. All right. Y'all
I'm gonna give you one of them this winter. You finally have some shoes I wear.
Yeah, I got them. There you go. They slick too. All right. Comfortable. All right. Go to abgwear.com, man, and that Turner joints, man. Look, it is what it is. And they slick. This is one of their guest products right here. We carrying them right at Abg Wear, and we got them on deck. And you
got plans for future for different colors? Because if I can get some leather browns.
Yeah, we got plans for colors. We gotta buy these first, so everybody buy a pair of these. By the time you come back, the browns ones will be out.
Right.
But no, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Yo, we just working to bring it. This is a good boot too. Stitches and all that. I've been wearing these type of boots for years, for at least a good 35 years. So I know a good pair of boots when I see them, and these are it. And they comfortable. They right on par with everything that's out there. I just want y'all to know that. All right. So, support, go to abgwear.com. All right. Very, very, very in order. Also support Meltrex. All right. What's the store? Give me the other store, sis.
They can either go to edenemyproductions.com to support the Meltrek program, or just simply go to Google and type in Meltrek and links to purchase. The program should generate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go on to Amara Squad store. Go to Magi Archer store. You can get the book. You can also go to Black Dot Bookstore and Cultural Center in Lithonia. We carry all the books and all the products from the Amara Squad right there. Matter of fact, we got a no pseudo section with all our work right in that section right there. All right, you can get the boots in the store, the shoes, flops, everything. So I appreciate everybody for supporting. And so let's get our closing remarks. You still at Smash? I know you be disappearing sometime. You got some closing statements to make?
Not at all. It's just good to be back. We need to do this more often, and I'm a rock squad up.
All right, man. How about you, MC Iron Lungs? Wu-Jai? Got him.
I'm gonna retire my lungs and just say, yeah, I'm just humbled about the whole awards situation, the nomination. I didn't know about it, and to thank everybody. And we're just gonna keep putting this work in. And I just hope, like me personally, I'm open, I'm approachable. My inbox is always open. I'm on Facebook. You see me go Facebook Live. Don't hesitate and don't be scared to interact with me and chime in on the discussions I have. I try to promote discussions and try to change the narrative and make people think. We need critical thinkers out there, and that's what I'm about. I'm trying to push that. So feel free to chime in and hit me up.
All right, Sister Naya, where you at? Any closing remarks? Disappeared.
No, we were just texting one another, so she must have walked away from the computer. Hold on, let me text her and let her know you're asking for. Hold on. Is asking for you.
While we doing that, man, also I got the and I'm proud of this one right here. All right, and y'all should actually look up. I got the Hubert Harrison Award. All right, they used to call him the Black Socrates in Harlem. Look up Hubert Harrison. All right, man, serious. I mean, could speak Greek, couple languages. Man, he was one of the first ones beating up religion all the way down. Okay, yeah, he was there in them streets. You know what I'm saying? Man, he was atheist, socialist, the whole 9 yards, and his work was immaculate. And you wonder why he has not been popularized in the Black community. Right. You know what I'm saying? Wonder why. One of the great thinkers of the times. Still is. So to get the Hubert Harrison Award, matter of fact, when they said Hubert Harrison, Malik Zulu Zabaz knew a lot about him and spoke about him, and then raised the eyebrow at me talking about you're atheist. Nigga, I ain't no atheist. I'm a real Black atheist. What's wrong with you? I mean, I recognize the forces in nature. I recognize African spirituality. I'm just against the state-sponsored religion. Yeah, let's get that straight. But anyway.
So what happens if an African nation creates its own state and then has a state religion?
Then I'll be ready to change that. But until that moment. Hey, but I never point the weapons of real Black atheism at African culture and African religions, because at the end of the day, I do respect our religion and culture. I do. I just have a profound disdain, right, for those proselytizing religions, like Hassan Wu-Jai say, that is kidnapped African people, kidnap their mind, kidnap their bodies, you know what I'm saying, kidnap their culture for their own personal use. So just out of respect for their ancestors, you know what I'm saying, out of total respect for them, I refuse to be a Muslim or Christian, right? Muslim, Christian, and a Hebrew. I just refuse that. So I just think that I don't expect everybody to do that. Never expected everybody to do that. Never expected people to get with that. But I just wanted the people to know that we have thinkers, right? And we've really thought about this. Like, I'm just not waiting for the European mind or the Christian mind or the Muslim mind to explain to me the cause that caused everything. Not waiting on that. All right, so y'all, people can take it like they want to take it. Don't get it confused. And I have to make sure I watch my language because we really do have professors on the panel. Like I used to get away with a lot. I can't even get away with that much no more. Dang. But it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Brother Saul, you got any closing remarks? Nope.
What'd you say?
I said, any closing remarks? What do you say?
Peace, love, and happiness. I don't know.
Peace, love, happiness. There's a song up there. Where you at now? You still there or you she ain't make it back? Nope, that's not.
Brother Unc, what happened?
I was saying now, I guess you didn't. I gave you a closing remark. Did you get yours yet?
No, I didn't get mine yet, but I thought you called me. I had stepped away from my computer too. That's why I said, what happened? But, I just want to, again, Brother Ankh, I agree with Brother Wujaru and Brother Asar, man. Gotta thank my squad. I think I thanked you. I thanked Sinetta, thanked everybody, but I have some great minds around me. And I agree with Brother Smash that when, on the squad, we push one another and you can't come half stepping, and if you do come half stepping, somebody's going to pull your slip. And so I just appreciate the people who are around me. I appreciate the minds that are around me. I mean, every time I call Brother Wujaru, and he'll tell you, I'll inbox him, look, brother, I'm looking at some African mathematics and I'm trying to figure out, can you translate this for me or that for me? And, and he's always there. So I do want to thank, my squad members. I also want to thank, Sinetta and the whole conscious community for voting for me. Be on the lookout for Meltrek episode 3. Exploring the transatlantic slave trade part 1. That should be out in June. Peace and power.
But them elbows, I don't like that.
I'm gonna let the cat out the bag and let everybody know that Dr. Maya, she hits me up because she's about to build a ancient Egyptian spaceship, so she's trying to get the mathematical secret code. Yeah,
I just realized I need to send you that chapter, Dr. Maya.
Which chapter, brother? Y'all got me over here cracking up. What chapter, brother? Brother,
scientific method on the African origins of the word science.
Oh, did you already write it?
Yeah, it's already written. I had Dr. Ditka review it. I also have Dr. Bangura at Howard University. This is a brother who has 5 PhDs. In one in computer science, one in mathematics, one in linguistics, and maybe 2 in linguistics, one in political science, and I think 1 in economics. But he has 5 PhDs out of it. He wrote a book called From Bones to Computers, African Mathematics, something like that. African Mathematics from Bones to Computers.
I have it. I didn't know that brother was over in Howard. I have the book right here.
Right down the street from you.
Howard.
Yeah, he's right there at Howard.
All right, cool. And my son will be there in the fall, but he'll be over in the School of Business. But yeah, shoot it on over to me, brother. So I would love to take a look at it. And you said you also in this chapter break down the African origins of the word science, right?
Yeah, and it's so I don't expect you too much. Like I have some other people in the linguistics with Dr. Bangura's in linguistics as well, and he even shared because he's working on so not only will you have my chapter on this, but Dr. Bangura himself is working, I think, on an entire book on that subject.
Wow. Yeah,
he shared with me some snippets from it. So we're producing more and more of the African contributions in the development of science itself. But mine's again is going to be focusing on not only the word science itself in its African origin and in Egyptian, but the scientific method. And so he's dealing also with the scientific method as well.
That's hot.
So
that's hot. That's hot. Yeah, but the reason why I asked you about the African origin of the word science is because offline, Brother Ankh and I were talking, and I asked him. I said, "Well, what did they call it? Was there a word for it? the Greeks or whatever, I think they called it science. I think science is a Greek word. I'm not sure, but I know the Greeks called it science. Or
Science is Latin.
also it's Latin. But I'm just wondering, like, what did we call it? Did we call it spiritual? Like, what was the African word for it? Like, and I know, and I'm pretty sure it varies from culture to culture. But I just wanted to know, what did we call it?
Okay, well, in now here, we're gonna have two different outcomes. Dr. Bangura is, and his name is Abdul Karim Bangura. For those who don't know, and he's written a book called African Mathematics from Bones to Computers. He has a whole slew of books, actually. Some on research methods, African-centered research methods, and the whole thing. But anyway, so he's arguing that the word that he's using in his text is the word Riki, which means to know. I'm arguing again for the word science itself is the word sesh or sesher or sesha. And it was personified as the goddess, which we pronounce as Sheshet. But it's really like a S sh R dot T consonant cluster.
Okay.
And so that's their personification. And like Ditka, wanted me to stress, like in his review of my chapter, he wanted me to stress the relationship between Jehuti or Tho in science. But I replied to him that I wanted to focus on just the word science itself. So when we're dealing with the linguistic aspect of it, you can actually see the word science, which became science in Latin, is the word sisher in Egyptian, and so the Jehuti would be kind of a focus, but the Jehuti is ultimately, and I was thinking about doing a linguistic analysis in my book on Jehuti. I've already done one, but I haven't formally put it together as a chapter or a subsection. But the word Jehuti ultimately comes from a word meaning ear. It's a body part, the ear. And so for the concept of knowing in that respect, as well as a lot of African languages, is on one's ability to listen and comprehend. And so that's not what I wanted to convey when talking about science in general, because in that sense it's just more so on what somebody says and your ability to listen and regurgitate what was said in terms of knowing, because again, we're coming from oral traditions where the elders who had information sat there from mouth to ear, told you basically what was going on in the universe, and you spend a lot of your time doing a lot of memorizing. But the word science itself implies something else, that is something that you do. That's why it comes from the word to cut and to divide and separate the options, the other options, the falsehoods, saying from the truths and things of this nature. And it comes and it implies a particular process. And so there's a variation of that word that gives us science that also in the Egyptian language gives us the word for method. And so that's why my focus is on that word versus Riki or Jehuti.
Okay. Bam, but based off of the person in the chat room, you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
yeah, I see you right there, Wuja, typing in the chat room with the guy, Easy Bands. Yeah,
I'm listening, and he's not making any sense, because even the person who he's citing, in that we should all read, is a brother, Dr. Saimi, who is of the Kalanga ethnic group in Zimbabwe, from Zimbabwe. And so he has done some work comparing some Egyptian words with his Bantu language. And so what he's not realizing, the person in the chat, is that even if we find cognates in other African languages, it's not going to tell us per se how it was specifically pronounced in the ancient Egyptian language. The ancient Egyptian language is not the Karanga language or Isikaranga or Ichikaranga. And so if we could argue that the Karanga directly comes from ancient Egyptian and is a modern version of it, then you could be closer to the truth. But all Dr. Siemi is doing is find correlations like any other African linguist has done in terms of Mbochi, with Dr. Theophilo Benga, with Wolof, with Shekanta Diop, you know, and Chiluba with myself, of course, and with Dr. Mubabingi Bilolo. You know, these are all, regardless to what we argue, these are still words in these modern African languages. They do not tell you per se how it is exactly pronounced in the ancient Egyptian. And so we use the modern languages to give approximations of how words may have sounded in the ancient Egyptian, or more specifically Middle Egyptian and Late Egyptian, because we know how, for the most part, the words were put together for Coptic because they wrote down the vowels, but that's not the case for the New Kingdom and Middle Egyptian, at least consistently,
I
that
want to
we can
say,
get a sense of, you know, how these words were pronounced. So anybody who studies the languages knows this already.
I'll,
And so he's making points that are not really, he's making points against arguments that aren't even being made.
yes. Okay, that's what I was going to say, because I don't think the brother is familiar with the squad or the things that we, you know, discuss and talk about, because the things he's saying are things that he's almost preaching to the choir, but with the assumption that we don't already talk about it and deal with it. So he's almost talking in opposition to a phantom claim that we never make. And so that just has to be understood. That's why I told him that there's a scientific project underway using historical comparative method as the major tool to compare related African languages to give these approximations on the voweling and the pronunciations of these words. Even then, we won't be 100% sure, and it just gives us, like you said, an estimate and that we can roll with, because all these different African scholars will use their own personal mother tongue, their own language, to compare with Middle Egyptian, and then come away and say the same thing. Like you mentioned, Wolof, Mbochi, Chiluba, and Saswana and everything. I've seen it done on Facebook and everywhere, and every one of those people, not all of them, but some people will then therefore claim that their language is the ancient Egyptian language, when that's just not true.
All the time.
You can't do that. People have to understand what that means. And so I think you just explained that. So I hope the brother is listening and understands that he, you know, he's not really in opposition to anything we're saying. But one thing I want him to understand is that regardless of how you pronounce a word, especially with the glyphs, because they represent the skeleton of words, that semantics is not necessarily mutual one-for-one related to that. So we can ascertain meaning without ever even pronouncing a word. And the example I gave is that even in my comments, you can read my comments and understand it with never pronouncing it. Like you read it in your mind to yourself. So the ability to read and comprehend versus the ability to pronounce something historically 100% accurate are two totally different things. And that's what people have to understand. Hopefully the brother understands.
Yeah,
I want to add to this real quick, because I see one of his comments, and this is something that is dangerous scholastically wise along this question. He says, let me go like that. He says, bro, we have the culture still alive from customs, language, etc., as it regards ancient Egyptian. Now, usually when people say something like this, they always want to make it seem as if it is ancient Egyptian culture that is alive. And that's not the case. And this is why we stress the family relationships and orientations of these words and practices, to understand that what has survived in in what we know from the text of ancient Egypt is just part of the general culture of the family that the ancient Egyptians belong to. It's not Egyptian culture. So like if you see something that parallels with ancient Egyptian in other African languages and cultures, it's not Egyptian that you find. Like the Egyptian culture itself is not surviving in Chiluba or Wolof. It is the parent culture that survives through all of these, that permeates through all of these separate languages and cultures. And that's something, that's a different type of understanding that a lot of us have to really grasp, and why that conversation about the theory is important to this conversation in terms of, for example, Afro-Asiatic and Niger-Congo, Nilo-Saharan, etc., versus Negro-Egyptian. And so when we talk about the Negro-Egyptian, which I call Chiana Intu, language family, we're talking about not only in terms of the language relationships, but the underlying psychology, the inner logic of their cultures and practices that is common and that still survives from the parent language in the parent community, which we call Negro-Egyptian, or in my case, Chiana Intu. And so, you know, it's the wording in terms of semantics may seem slight to the layperson, but it has a major effect on how you approach and articulate the fundamental arguments, you know, in this type of discourse regarding ancient Egypt and the relationship between it and these other African languages. Because too many times, as you said, people think that in their language that they find some words and some ideas that you find in ancient Egyptian, that somehow that it is directly from ancient Egypt. And that's the reason why it exists in their language and culture, and that's not the case. And so we don't want to be Egyptocentric in the sense that we think that everything diffuses from Egypt and that these other languages and cultures across Africa is basically biting from them. And that's not the case at all.
He's just saying you still see traces. All right, we can pick this conversation up another. Call your guy up and let's have him on the show and have a conversation. Get that out the way real quick. I think them brothers love the language enough to actually have that conversation with him. Sean, you crazy. You said a pep. Why you say that, Sean? Why you say too much team pep? Is that who we talking to? Is that it?
No, what I would suggest the brother, if he's on Facebook, you know, he could join this Seshu Mani Metanetra Facebook group or where we have these types of discussions if you want to continue the conversation. Because I really don't think, you know, I think the brother's just not familiar with the stuff we talk about. And so based on that, that's how the conversation is going. If he understood what we talk about, I don't really think it would be a problem at all. So if the brother just come around and chime in on the conversations, I think everything be all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, easy bands, man. Go ahead, get in the group. They love talking about that type thing, man. Y'all be in there for 10 years on this one. All right, but look, check this out, man. We out of here. We're gonna do this on regular occurrences. We're gonna keep it out of thing. You know what I'm saying? Keep the thing unrolling. Keep the information flowing. It's just that, you know, everybody got busy schedules because we actually in them daggone streets doing what we supposed to do, man. So that's, you know, I'm a Raw Squad up, y'all. Black African Power, man. Peace, and we out.